Hello, friends. My name is Teacher Evelyn or Evelyn Joy, and I am a VIPKID teacher. And I wanted to talk to you today about what can a VIPKID teacher do if you witness abuse in the classroom. Maybe it's a parent or a grandparent that is hitting your student. Now, I have taught over 2,300 classes, and I haven't seen a situation of physical abuse personally, but I've read plenty of horror stories on Facebook. Unfortunately, Facebook is our teacher's lounge, so it's where people go with their horror stories to ask, what should I do, right? But I know what I would do in that situation, and I want to share with you what you can do in that situation. A lot of times, people on Facebook, one of the first things they say on those posts is, it's a different culture. The laws are different. There's nothing you can do. In a way, they're right, and in a way, they're wrong. First of all, I have friends who live in China, and I asked them personally, I said, what are the laws like about abuse in China? You know, what's the culture around that? And she said, basically, people don't abuse their children in public, and it's kind of hush-hush. Nobody talks about it. So it's kind of like it's up to the parents' discretion how they choose to discipline their child or abuse their child. And so it's sort of more up to the parents' discretion, which we all know is dangerous. So, but VIPKID cares about its teachers and its students. And so what I would do if I saw a student, and remember, I've taught over 2,300 classes, and praise God, I've never witnessed a student being abused, but I have read posts about it. And today I read a particularly disturbing post about abuse, and I'm not going to read it to you because it's very disturbing. But if you see a student getting abused in the classroom, by that I mean physically hit or hurt, and I've seen a few horrific posts about situations, right? What I would do in the classroom is there is a button. When you call the firemen, you have different options. One of them is student behavior. Don't click that. But one of them is a safety concern. I would definitely click safety concern. Another thing I would do is try to talk to the parent and say, it's okay, she's doing a good job, because sometimes the parent may try to beat the child thinking that they're not answering correctly. So I would notify the firemen. Some people say, oh, there's nothing you can do. I think that safety button's there for a reason. If your student is choking, if your student is playing with matches or fire or playing with a knife, or if someone is hurting your student, that safety concern button is there for a reason. And hopefully the company can call them, and obviously we have to be respectful towards the parent, because in China it is their decision how they choose to discipline or punish their child, but we can give helpful suggestions. I know the perspective is that the customer's always right and they're the paying customer, but these are our students and we care about them and love them and want the best for them, right? So what I would do is I would keep all of that in mind when writing feedback. I would say, let's say my student's name is Sarah, just making up a name. I am so happy to teach Sarah. I smile so big every time I see her in class. She always works hard. She's an excellent student. I'm so happy to teach her. I was sad to see her sad today. Please remember that when someone's learning a new language, making errors is an important part of the language learning process. And remember that the best way to encourage a student to improve is to encourage them. And punishments usually make a student more nervous to speak. We want our students to be encouraged and to feel happy to speak. Thank you for choosing to be a supportive parent. And thank you for choosing me as your teacher. So I would say something like that, just encouraging them that your student's doing well. Don't worry about it. Your student, she's doing great. Just because she got an answer wrong or she hesitated to speak, it does not mean you need to start beating her, but instead encourage her to speak. Help us out as teachers. We're encouraging our students to speak, right? So I wanted to make that video to let you know you are not powerless. And the third thing you can do is you can send a ticket and report the abuse. What will get done? It probably depends what fireman it goes to. You never know. There could be an advocate for children's safety in China that's a fireman that receives that ticket, and they may file a report. You never know. I don't know. But be an advocate for these kids, you know, but also respect the parents and their perspective, right? So just be respectful and loving and an advocate for these kids. So that's my 2 cents about that. Don't feel powerless. Definitely report abuse if you feel like it's excessive. I did have one time, I have a student who is always naughty and off task, and his mom spanked him during class one time, but it was not a bad spanking and he kind of needed it. So I wouldn't call that abuse and I wouldn't report it because he didn't even cry over it, you know. But I can tell his mom is trying her best to keep him under control. He's kind of a wild child. But yeah, I'm talking about situations where our students are just sobbing their eyes out because they're being beaten by their parents. And again, I've taught over 2,300 classes and never experienced that type of situation, but I've seen it on Facebook reported. So don't feel powerless. Report it to the firemen in the class. Write to the parents, encouraging them to be encouraging parents rather than discouraging. And let them know what you like about their student. Let them know errors are an important part of the language learning process. And feel free to send a ticket just in case something can be reported, or if maybe the LP can talk nicely to the parents and let them know that there are more positive ways of encouraging students than just like abuse, you know. So Cindy just arrived and said, watched always positive comments. Don't say don't to the parent. I like the suggestions on what to do for the parent. Yeah. So respect the parent. They're the customer. They're the parent. It's their call in China, but you can make suggestions to them. Don't say like, oh, don't do this or don't do that, but say, please remember that positive encouragement is always more helpful than negativity, right? All right. Thank you. That's all I have to say about that. Goodbye. Have a great day. Happy teaching.